DeepSeek is probably the easiest thing to install. For you to be able to install DeepSeek locally, so you can start using it locally, you need to go to Ollama or Ollama, depends on who you ask, Ollama or Ollama. Now, once you're here, click on the downloads. It's going to take you to the download page, and I'm on a Windows machine, so I'm going to go ahead and download for Windows. Then save this into the download folder, the Ollama setup. I'm going to go ahead and save that in there. And once it's saved, you will have to double click on it so you can get into the installation process. Let's go ahead and bring up the download folder. Let's get to the download section. I'm going to bring this here so you can see it. And then once Ollama is here, like I said, just double click on it. So I'm going to double click on this to kick in the installation process. Now the setup wizard will pop up, and right here, just click on install. And then let Ollama go in and do its installation thing. Now, as we wait for Ollama to finish installing, let's go back to the website here. I'm going to show you a few things. Then here, click on the models, right? Once you go back to the Ollama website, click on models. And here you're able to see all the models that's supported within Ollama. All of these are free and open source. So which basically, in theory, you can run them on your machine. But DeepSeek is the one that's usually, that can be run on a regular machine that doesn't require a lot of processing power. Now, right here, let's go ahead and click on DeepSeek R1. And R1 comes in a different kind of variations. So there is 1.5 billion, 7 billion, 8 billion, 14, all the way to 671 billion. If you click on the drop down here, you'll see how many gigabytes of storage it's going to require for you to be able to successfully have this running in your machine. Remember, depending on the speed of your computer, if you pick this right here, it's probably going to run a little bit slower for you. So for the sake of this, because we're just sort of demonstrating this, we're going to go ahead and pick the 7 billion one. And Ollama is going to give us the command that we need to run. Like I said, this is probably the easiest thing to install because the only thing you need to do is literally just copy this command and then go to PowerShell and then run that as soon as Ollama finishes installing. So let's go ahead and verify to see if Ollama is finished. Looks like it's almost done installing. So let's give it a minute for Ollama to finish, and we will paste this command, the Ollama run DeepSeek R1, the 7 billion parameter, and we're going to paste that into PowerShell. All right, it looks like it's done, and I can verify that by clicking on the start menu. It should be, and search for Ollama. It should be there, right there. So what I'm going to need to do is bring up PowerShell. So let's go back here and search for PowerShell. And then we're going to run PowerShell as administrator. So right click on PowerShell, run it as administrator. And there's a pop-up that says, you sure you want to do that? I'm going to click on yes. And let's go ahead and maximize the screen of PowerShell. So this is PowerShell. All you need to do, if you haven't done already, go back to Ollama and copy this, then go back to PowerShell, and then left click on PowerShell. Right? It's going to go ahead and paste in that command. All you have to do now, just click on enter. Now it's going to go in and basically pull this kind of a version of DeepSeek that we're looking at downloading, which is like the 7B, which it won't take long because it's just 4.7 gigabytes worth of data. So let's give it a minute for Ollama to finish bringing that in, and we will test it. Now, after waiting for a little bit, looks like Ollama was able to install, meaning pull DeepSeek, and then it went in and verified the SHA-256 digest, meaning the hash for the DeepSeek, and making sure that I got the right version. So right now it finishes installing, and as I can see that by looking at that little word there that says success, and right here it says, oh, send a message, meaning this is the prompt where I can start asking my local DeepSeek LLM some questions. But before we do that, let me go ahead and show you a few things. For example, if you type in the slash with the question mark, you are going, let's go ahead and do that quickly here. You are going to ask for help. So press enter by typing that in there. And then right now it's coming back, it's giving me the available commands. For example, I can set the session with the /set. I can show the model information with this right here with the /show. I can load, I can save, I can clear, I can even exit out of the model by typing in the /by. So right now, let's go ahead and just ask a question, see how this thing is going to respond. Again, it's responding from the local DeepSeek. If you're like, okay, well, maybe sending some of my information, to the Chinese government, you can literally disconnect the internet and then be able to test it. It's gonna still work. So for now, let's go ahead and just check this out. I'm gonna go ahead and type in what is the best cybersecurity certifications and how can I prepare for one? Okay, so I'm gonna just type that in there and then hit search. After waiting for a little bit, DeepSeek just finished generating my content. So I can go back up here so that we can take a look at what exactly just took place. So right now, I asked the question, and then it started off by saying, hey, let me think about this. This is known as a reinforcement learning approach, also what they call the chain of thought process. There's no other model that is able to do this as of right now. I think OpenAI is planning on releasing something very, very soon. But as of right now, this is the only AI model that's able to kind of show you the process of it going in there and thinking through your problem. So right now it's going in is saying, okay, the user is trying to understand this. The question was, okay, what are the best cybersecurity certifications? It's going in is saying, hey, I should probably first figure out, okay, who are the vendors like CompTIA, things like CISSP, Cisco certifications, maybe NIST, ISO, and then so on and so forth. So after thinking through it and then telling me how it's going in, is doing the whole chain of thinking, it comes back and responding to my answer, saying, okay, the best certifications, there we go, CompTIA, you should start maybe with that. Go with the EC console, maybe some Cisco, maybe some Microsoft, maybe some PMP, and so on and so forth. And then it's going in, it's giving me some preparation strategy, again, based on the way I asked. So this is really good, but look at this. It gets a little bit boring looking at just the, black screen with the, just some letters. For some people, they might want to kind of uh, want to get that UI, that graphical user interface that they're so used to when they're using, ChatGPT or one of these other AI models. For that, we're going to go ahead and install Docker and then bring on a tool that is known as Open WebUI, which allows us to run DeepSeek in a pretty good looking UI. But before we do that, you might be asking a question. Okay, Francois, well, let's go ahead and um, exit out of this, right? Say bye. When you do that, it's gonna go ahead and say, okay, well, bye then, right? We're done. But your question would be, okay, Francois, well, what if I want to get back to this next time? All you have to do literally is to press the same command that you used to install it, and it's gonna bring it back. So if we go back here and copy that command again, minimize that. If we place that in there and press enter, it's not going to go ahead and install it again from scratch. It's just going to go ahead and allow me to start using it. So that's how you get back to it. It's by typing in the same exactly command that you use to install it. Now, let me go ahead and say bye again to exit out of this. And then let's go ahead and install Docker. So I'm going to close this, go to my browser here, bring this back, and then just go to Docker. Now I'm going to go to Docker's homepage and then I click on the download Docker desktop or hover over it. Then I pick the operating system that you use. In my case, I'm using Windows, specifically the AMD Windows. And I click on that. Then I'm going to save that into the desktop as well, the installer. And then let Docker installer download. Once it's finished downloading it, just like what we did with Ollama, I'm going to double click on it and then get the installation process kicked in. And here we are. So I'm going to go ahead and double click on the Docker desktop installer. And it's going to go ahead and give me the wizard where I'm able to walk into the whole process of installing Docker. So let's give it a minute. And now we can see the icon here at the bottom that says, okay, I mean, we can see the Docker icon here at the bottom that is showing us, okay, we're going to use WSL, and then we're going to, add the shortcut to the desktop. I'm going to say, okay, let's do that. And now it's going in is installing Docker. So this might take a minute. It's unpackaging some files. So let's give it some time. Once it's finished installing, I'll come back and then we're going to finalize this lab. And after waiting for a little bit, Docker is finished installing. So here is the thing. Once we close this, it's going to ask us to restart the machine. And then I'm doing this on my physical machine. It's not virtualized. So I'm going to go ahead and click close. Now, after rebooting the machine, we are back here. So let's go ahead and check a few things. One, let's check to make sure that virtualization is enabled. We should have done this earlier. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the start menu. And then right here, I'm going to type in Task Manager. Just verify before we run Docker. Then once you bring up Task Manager, go ahead and click on Performance. And once you are right here, make sure CPU is selected. Then at the bottom here, check virtualization and make sure it says enabled. I knew mine was enabled. Maybe that's why I forgot. But I just want to make sure this is enabled before we move forward. And once you're done with that, go ahead and close the Task Manager and then go ahead and open a Docker. So I'm going to go back to the search menu and then open Docker. Oh, that's it, open. But type in Docker and then click on a Docker desktop or press enter. So let's give it a minute for Docker to load up. And then we can see that Docker is right here. So let's click on this icon, the Docker icon in the bar there. And then this is Docker. So go ahead and accept the terms service agreement. Click on accept. And it's going to bring up this sign-in page, right? You have already created the account. So click on personal. And here, go ahead and sign in. You can also skip this, but we're going to go ahead and sign in. So I'm going to go ahead and sign in with my personal account. So click on personal and then sign in with your personal account. It's going to go ahead and take us to Google Chrome and ask us to authenticate automatically because I'm already logged in into Docker from the Google Chrome. So I'm going to go ahead and click on open the Docker desktop. And it should go ahead and sort of like sign me in. But before they do that, they're going to bring up this survey. You sure you want to, that kind of stuff. I'm going to go ahead and click skip the welcome survey. And now we're in without any problem. So this is Docker, is ready, it's good to go. So once you finish signing in, go back to Google. I'm going to go ahead and search for Google. Then once you're here, go ahead and search for Open WebUI container. So we're going to type in Open WebUI container. There we go. And then click on Getting Started, the guide Getting Started here from OpenUI website. Now, once you're here, go ahead and click on the Quickly Get Started, the Quickly Started guide. And then once you're here, you're going to scroll down a little bit here so you can see a few things. Again, we're doing this on the Docker, so make sure that is selected. And then once you're here, they have a few ways of us pulling the image. So there's the second step, which is what we want. But if I scroll down a little bit here, I want to show you something. If you are running like NVIDIA GPU, you can pull this right here, which is going to kind of help your AI runs a little bit more smooth. But in our case, we just want to run the container here. So we're going to go ahead and just pull this right here. I'm going to go ahead and copy that, right? Make sure I copy this right there. And then here, let me go ahead and go back to PowerShell. So I'm going to then open PowerShell one more time. PowerShell and then run it as administrator. Click yes for the pop-up. This is PowerShell. I'm going to go ahead and paste the command that I just copied here. Then once I paste that in there, I'm going to go ahead and press enter on the keyboard. Now Docker is going in. It's installing the Open WebUI. All right, after waiting for a little bit, it looks like it's finished, but there's a pop-up here that's asking us if we want to open some kind of a backend, a Docker backend. So go ahead and click on allow. After that, let's go ahead and open a Docker and we should be able to see the container we just installed. So let me go ahead and make this a little bit bigger. And we can see, clicking on the container there, we can see that we have the Open Web UI, and we can see a few things like the container ID and so on and so forth. So right now, what we care about is the local host with the port of 3000. So I'm gonna go ahead and click on that. And it's opened. So let me go ahead and bring it that because it opened on my other screen there. And we can see that localhost uh, with this port number is now here. So all you need to do here, just click on the getting started. Getting started. It's going to ask you to sort of like set up an Open Web UI account. Let's go ahead and set that one up. Now, once you finish creating that account, go ahead and click OK or let's go, right? And then voila. And then here we are. So we have a pretty good UI, and you can click right here to sort of like pick different models if you have those installed locally in your machine. But right now we only have the 7 billion one installed. And right here, you can literally start asking things. So I can say, what are the best cyber certification? Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and press enter to that. And right now, literally just like ChatGPT, but is installed locally in your local machine. And we can see right now it's going in, it's thinking, it's doing that chain of thought process again. And as you can see, this is a pretty fast, right? It's going in, it's thinking through things, it's trying to figure out, okay, what is the best cybersecurity certifications? And again, it's showing me its chain of thoughts. So let's give it a minute for the whole thing to come back, and we'll take a look at the results, and we'll be done. And it looks like it's finished. So if you scroll up a little bit, again, we can see that process right here, and we can look at the response of my question. And they all look, I mean, the UI looks like the ChatGPT UI. So I can click on a new chat and then go ahead and start asking additional questions. There's where I can talk to this. There's the code interpreter. I can upload things. I can capture things. Again, it's pretty good, and it's all hosted locally in your own machine. Now, if you've come this far and this is your first time here watching some of my videos, or you're trying to learn cybersecurity, well, first of all, I just want to say welcome home. If you're trying to learn cybersecurity is all I talk about. It's all I teach. So welcome home. So the favor that I want to ask you is for you to smash that subscribe button. And if you can, please share this video on social media or share on any of my video on social media, and I will see you in the next video.